Good afternoon. I'm Bruce Gilman, President of the Del Webb Homeowners Association. The 2023 annual meeting of the Del Webb Sweetgrass Homeowners Association is called to order. Next slide, please. Secretary, do we have a quorum?
Over 370 proxy forms were signed and submitted to establish the required quorum for the annual meeting.
There being a quorum, I'd like to have a motion to approve the minutes of the 2022 annual meeting as shown on the next slide. Next slide, please.
I move that we accept the minutes from the 2022 annual meeting.
Secretary, do we have the proxies to approve?
Yes, we do.
The minutes of the 2022 annual meeting are approved and may be viewed on the mysweetgrass.net website by anyone who will log on after today, and the minutes of the 2022 meeting will be there. All right, moving on. Next slide, please. I'm very, very pleased to welcome all of you to the 2023 Del Webb Sweetgrass Homeowners Association annual meeting, which is being presented by your board of directors and your CCMC management team. At this point, I'd like to introduce the HOA members and the CCMC management team. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. I'm Bruce Gilman. I'm the president. I serve as the spokesperson for the association on the board. I preside over board meetings. I establish the board meeting agendas. I serve as liaison and main point of contact for the management team. I sign contracts and association documents. I set the goals for the association, and I appoint committees. Next slide, please.
I'm Don Tomlinson. Easiest thing for me to say is that I do whatever Bruce doesn't want to do.
Next slide, please.
I'm Larry Gervin. I oversee the association's finances, work with the finance committee as their liaison, and I work with Kelly and Bruce to bring together some of the projects that we will need financing on.
Next slide.
I'm Sue Merdler, the board secretary. I maintain the notes and minutes from the workshops and the meetings and ensure the information on the meeting dates and time are properly dispersed. And I also serve as liaison to the Health and Wellness Committee and the Mardi Gras Subcommittee.
Next slide, please.
I'm Dan Nath. I'm the director at large of the board of directors, and I am really fortunate that I get to work on a wide variety of projects. I've done everything from the HOA management company review with that being led by other members, but being in support of that while leading things like the landscaping review. And I also serve as the liaison to the safety committee.
Next slide, please. At this point, I'd like to turn it over to Kelly, and Kelly will introduce her team. Go ahead, Kelly.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for joining today. Just to introduce you to your CCMC on-site team. For those of you that maybe haven't met us before, on the screen you'll see myself there on the far left. I'm Kelly Riley Salyers, your community manager. We also have Stephen Martinez, our lifestyle director, Steve Messenger, maintenance director, and Rick Breitigam, who's our community standards director.
Next slide, please. Thank you.
Okay. In addition to that, the rest of the on-site team, we have Sandra Tina Harrow, administrator, Daniel Romero is our communications coordinator, Margaret Epps, Barb Alt, Kisa Williams, and Quinn Wynn, who are resident concierge team members. Charles Gonzalez and Jaime Resendez, our newest team members on our maintenance team, and then Paula Canales, who is also a part of our maintenance team. In addition to those persons that you see on site, there is a large support staff with CCMC that helps the community to be successful. These names listed here are the corporate team based out of primarily Scottsdale, Arizona, and Plano that also play really a direct role in supporting what we do here at Sweetgrass. You'll see a number of of our financial services team members, vice presidents, senior vice presidents, all the way up to our chairman and CEO. So all of these team members touch our community in one way, shape, or form on a regular basis. And recently, our board of directors, once we did our new to contract negotiation, have started holding quarterly meetings with executive level team members with CCMC. So you'll start to see more of these people on site at the Lake House, such as Brett. David Atrostic was here just a month or two ago. Azra will be here in February. So really building that connection and having the board build a relationship with our executive team and not just those persons that work on site. About CCMC itself, just to give you some idea, CCMC currently manages 156 large-scale communities, which is 231 associations. We do specialize in large-scale communities. Of course, there are a wide variety of common interest properties around the country, portfolio communities, condo communities, townhome communities. But what we really look for to partner with is large-scale communities, and those communities that have a heavy lifestyle or resident experience presence. So those communities that are looking to really build that community feeling and that resident engagement. We operate in 10 states, with the majority of our communities being in the Southwest. About 10% of the communities that we manage are 55 plus communities, including 4 Del Webb communities in the state of Texas. And we are currently over 1,000 employees nationwide. That is going to bring us to our first drawing of the day. We will be spinning the wheel for a Weber barbecue grill. As a reminder, the persons whose name are in for the drawings today are those persons that submitted their proxy forms by the end of the day on Monday. You did have to submit by then to have your name included. Also, I would ask if your name or it'll be your address actually. If your address is called out as being a winner, please don't rush up to the Lake House to try to claim your prize right now. We will reach out to you at the beginning of next week to let you know when you can come and pick up your prize. So, all right, Stephen, spin the wheel whenever you're ready. All right, 1011 Oleander Way. Congratulations, you just won a barbecue. Barbecue was donated by Uline, by the way. Just want to thank you for our sponsor. All right, Bruce, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Okay, many people ask about the board, what we really are. Well, we are you. We are members of this community. We are homeowners, and we've been elected by the homeowners to represent you. We consist of elected volunteers, and all of us volunteered for this, and we represent the association, and we're here to protect the best interests of the community as a whole. Ultimately, our role is to protect and increase property values. This is accomplished by operating the association, maintaining the common property, enforcing the governing documents. We are social entities, but we're also corporate or business entity. We must maintain the value of jointly owned assets, and that's making sure that as board members, we look at this as a business and operate this as such. Next slide, please. Supporting us is the neighborhood committees. Each of the communities here have a neighborhood committee representing them. And some of their responsibilities are to welcome new residents to the neighborhood. That's the first people that they see. You rush out and welcome them. This is a very welcoming community, and the neighborhood committee members and chairs do a tremendous job in not enforcing so much as communicating the spirit of Sweetgrass. You also ensure that the HOA and board communications are being distributed to the residents. Communications is a very important factor here. You act as a liaison between the neighborhoods and the board, and you host quarterly meetings with the residents in your neighborhoods, gathering and reporting maintenance concerns or needs, bringing those to the board's attention. And of course, we have quarterly meetings where neighborhood advisory council meetings are held with a representative from each of the neighborhoods. And additional information is communicated there. Action is brought to the board and reported to the neighborhood association or neighborhood committees. Next slide, please. Owners and residents have a responsibility as well. And part of that is the two-way communication. And the best way to do that is attend your annual meetings, which you are doing right now. And we thank you very much for that. And attend board meetings, whether virtually or in person, streaming online. And if you can't make those, they are always available on the mysweetgrass.net website. They're all recorded. This meeting will be recorded as well. Getting constructive feedback is always valuable. But mainly, we have to bear in mind that we all came here to agree to certain conditions, and that's adhering to the CC&Rs, the regulations, the guidelines, the policies, and the rules set by the governing documents. Another responsibility, of course, is paying assessments in a timely manner, and most importantly at all, getting involved and making a difference. This is a very, very volunteer-oriented community, and we continue to look for more volunteers to help make a difference. Next slide, please. The management team. Kelly, would you address some of the responsibilities of your team?
Definitely. So the management team is responsible for overseeing the day-to-day operations of the community, which is a lot of responsibility and a lot of tasks they work in conjunction with what the board does, but they are different than what the board does. And we'll talk a little bit about that on the next slide as well. But on this slide, we handle your invoice processing for you. We work with your vendors. We do your covenants enforcement and monthly inspections. So you're not going to see Don pop in his car and drive around inspecting people's homes. That's what your management company does for you. We put together your monthly financial. We help with your budgeting process. We work directly with your finance committee and the board on making sure that your area is properly maintained, that your amenities are working good, that they look nice. We do, again, you guys are a Del Webb community, which means lifestyle is very, very important here. So we have a lifestyle team that is dedicated to planning activities and events geared to a wide variety of residents, to appeal to a lot of different people who live here and what they're looking for, at this stage in their life. So communications, getting all of that information to you via websites, through a social media channels, through e-blasts. It's really, really important that maybe if you're not reading those or you're not receiving those, that you sign up to get them. That's the number one way we can get this information to you, is if you are reading those e-blasts that we put out. And then, of course, last but not least, carrying out the instructions and policies of the board. So since the board is the governing authority in the association, it is our responsibility to enact whatever decisions that they choose, or what your governing documents say for you. So next slide, please. So I want to talk a little bit about, okay, so what's the difference between the board and the management team? Because it sounds like some of those are very similar to each other, and they are. We do work very closely with each other. We both have responsibilities when it comes to making Sweetgrass a success. But there are some fundamental differences between what the board does and what the management team does. And just to go over those a little bit, the board of directors governs the community while the management team manages the community. The board of directors are all volunteers. They're residents. They volunteer to serve, while the management team, we are under contract to work as an agent of the association. So we are all hired through CCMC to handle your day-to-day operations for you. Your board of directors will approve your budget. They set operating procedures and they shape the direction of the association. But again, they don't carry out the day-to-day tasks to make that move forward. That's handled by the team, the delivering of reports, the paying of your bills, getting your financials ready, making sure things are well maintained. Your board will set the rules and policies for the association, while the management team is the one that carries them out, but we don't actually set them. It is the board that decides what new rules or policies will exist, along with previous boards, of course. The board is responsible to make critical decisions and approve major purchases or projects for the association. So I myself in particular, and some of my team members, have some flexibility and authority to solve problems as they pop up. But we don't make critical decisions for the association, and we don't go out and decide to just make large purchases. We might make a recommendation. We'll point out there's an issue that maybe could use some attention. And then ultimately the board decides how to move forward with that critical decision. And then board members have a fiduciary duty to the association itself and to the homeowners that live here. They have a fiduciary obligation to make the choice that's in the best interest of the association. And the team has a responsibility to use good trust, good judgment, and to act on the best interest of the HOA to advise the and guide the board properly, but we do not hold the same fiduciary responsibility as someone who has actually been elected to serve on the board. So while we do work together hand in hand, there are some fundamental differences on how that plays out long term. So. Oh, all right. It's going to bring us to another spin the wheel prize. Now we're going to be spinning to win a $50 Texas Roadhouse gift certificate donated by CCMC. All right, congratulations to 10 Avonia Court, who's just won a gift certificate to Texas Roadhouse. At this point, I'm going to turn the presentation over to Don Tomlinson, Board Vice President, who is going to give us this year's board update.
Next slide. This is essentially what the board did and accomplished during 2023. It is quite a laundry list, and I will go through it as quickly as I can. It does not involve every single teeny little thing we did, but these are the significant things that we did during the year. I know we're all concerned about lighting. I know that we've been told over and over that that safety has more to do with lighting than it does with cameras, in the sense of prevention rather than figuring out what somebody did after the fact by having the camera. So we're happy that we reached an agreement with CenterPoint for CenterPoint to convert the CenterPoint owned streetlights, and it's important to know that's not every one of them, but those that they do own are being converted to LED. Larry's overseeing of the finance committee, I can tell you, is superlative, and the finance committee does a great job. And we have in 2023 reviewed CD and money market accounts at higher interest rates, which obviously means more money for the community. The new maintenance ticket system, MaintainX, as far as I know, is working very well, and I think everyone is pleased with that upgrade and update, and I think the system is working as we expected it to. We were advised over and over that we needed to add environmental insurance. It was not terribly expensive, so this year we added it. We hadn't had it before, and we are convinced that it was the appropriate thing to do to protect the assets of the community. We hired a new association attorney who, as far as I'm concerned, is doing a terrific job. We completed, as I know you know, we spent a long time and a great deal of effort completing the management company renewal process. CCMC was chosen as the ongoing service provider. One of the things, the reason there's a little sub-bullet right there, is that we developed and monitored contract initiatives. So when we negotiated the new deal with CCMC, there were quite a number of things in there that were what we call contract initiatives. And these are ongoing things that CCMC is doing. And as far as I'm concerned, all of that is working out real well. We approved a lake house lighting study. And I can tell you that it is not going as we expected, principally because the person we contracted with to provide the study for us, well, let's just say we don't have it yet. We are working on a solution to that problem and should have one fairly soon. We approved a surveillance camera study, and while it isn't completed either, it is absolutely on course, and we will be able to report the results of that at some point during this year. We hired an engineer to survey and provide recommendations regarding drainage issues to the common areas between FM 762 and Majestic Oak. I think we all know that drainage is always an issue. We never know exactly how it's going to work. We do the best we can with getting the drainage issues resolved, but I think we can all see from this past week that when it rains as much as it has, we're just going to have those kinds of issues. So we're studying that. We have upgraded the irrigation system with the addition of a Rainbird IQ system, and that word IQ is important because it has capabilities that if you saw me shake my head just now, I don't know if you can tell that I'm in a room where the light goes off. If nobody's moving and it went off, I had to get it back on. Okay, continuing, the next slide. We adopted and amended policies in 2023, updates to Lake House rental policies and procedures document, new Lake House common area display policy, updated fine and enforcement policy to comply with new legislation. And I'll just mention there that every time the legislature meets, they always legislate to some extent or the other having to do with the governance of HOAs, and they change our authority to do things. And one of the things we do through our attorney is at the end of the legislative session, we go through all of the new legislation that has been passed and signed by the governor that affects us. And then we implement whatever changes we need to and go from there. And it's important to know that all of these governing documents are available on the mysweetgrass.net website in the document library folder. Okay, next slide. So I won't go through a big explanation of what a committee is. I think we all know, but these committees are what we call board appointed committees. So we're very grateful that when we have a board appointed committee, we have people in the community, just like us board members, who volunteer to serve on these committees to flesh out exactly what we're doing in the community in a variety of ways. And this homeowner participation and contribution to the overall success of the community is it's just a necessary thing to have the great community we have. We have 5 committees and 1 subcommittee of a committee. And I'll tell you more about that in a second. The charter for the social committee was updated in 2023. The board has to approve what the charters are for each one of these committees. So we'll know precisely what these committees, what their lines of authority are and what their responsibility is, what they're supposed to do. So we do all of that. The charter for the neighborhood committee was updated last year. The structure of the Mardi Gras subcommittee was updated and a new charter was adopted. Next slide. So the board committees are, real quickly, the ARC, I can't tell you how much I personally appreciate all the people who serve on the ARC, because it can be a difficult task sometimes. And these people really do a great job. I believe, Kelly, if I'm not mistaken, you told us the other day that applications to the ARC are going down. And the general idea or the thought behind that is that as the community rather matures, people have done essentially what they're wanting to do. And there are therefore a smaller number of requests going into the ARC. Next slide. The Finance Committee, and I guess I should mention just the name of the chairperson. Bob Notaris is the chairperson of the Finance Committee. And I have to tell you, that's one of the most difficult tasks we have, is to keep the budget straight, know what we're doing, understand the annual audit, understand everything about finances, the reserve fund, all of that. And as far as I'm concerned, these people do a bang up job of that. Okay, moving on to the next slide. The Social Committee, Carolyn Mitchell is the chairperson. They help provide leadership, input, recommendations, support for community events and activities. As you heard Larry, I believe, say a few minutes ago, or maybe it was Bruce, we're really 2 things. We're all the rules having to do with keeping the property values up and all of that, but we're also about having fun. That's principally why most of us moved here, because we thought collectively we could have a good time. And the Social Committee obviously is integral to the success of that. And I can't imagine a community having a whole lot more fun than we seem to have, at least witnessed by the number of events we have and the success of attendance at all those events and so forth. Okay, the Mardi Gras Committee, which Edna Cooper is the chair of, is a subcommittee of the Social Committee. And they provide specific leadership input and recommendations and so forth into the community's annual Mardi Gras parade and party. And they also do a great job. Health and Wellness Committee, if you could go to the next slide. Sherry Theriot is the chair of that. Health and Wellness Committee reviews, evaluates, and develops recommendations for health and wellness policies, programs, and processes that will be of value to the mental and physical well-being of the community's residents, while also providing motivation for resident participation. We do, for those of you who aren't entirely aware of this, you need to check out all of the things that are available to you that you might not be aware are available to you through the Health and Wellness Committee and the various things that we do as a community as a whole, you know, in the lake house and otherwise. So you might want to check that out. And finally, the Safety Committee, Paul Schkedy is the chair. This is a fairly new committee, and I will that Dan Nath, and I'm not sure Sue may be as well, liaison from the board to the Safety Committee. And I don't think there's anything of any larger concern to us as a whole than the safety of the community and its residents. So we really got into that. The Safety Committee has really taken charge of all kinds of initiatives and things we can do to help keep us all safe. And I personally am grateful for that. And that is the end of my presentation. And I must tell you, we want to thank all the committee volunteers. I believe that's the next slide. Let's see. Yeah, there you go. Let me just tell you that volunteerism is a wonderful thing, and we have a lot of it here, and we're all highly grateful that we do. So I didn't know where the next slide went, but I see now it goes to some Yeti cups. So let's do it.
All right, 3210 Golden Eagle Way. Congratulations on your new pair of Yeti cups. And those were donated by Uline. At this point, we're going to turn it over to our board treasurer, Larry Gervin, for the 2023 financial recap.
Thank you, Kelly. As of December 31st, the operating balance was 668,000 plus. These funds are split between 4 accounts, including money markets and CDs. They're earning interest and remain under FDIC insured limits. The current rate is somewhere in excess of 5% for each one of those. Reserve balance, I'm very pleased to say it's 1,473,000 plus. These funds are split also into 7 accounts, and they include the ICS, which is a forming of a protection for FDIC, money market CDs, and they are once again earning interest in a little more than 5%, and they are FDIC insured. As per our 2022 reserve study, our target reserve balance at the end of 2023 is 1,211,296. That means that the reserve count is fully funded. And folks, that doesn't happen in some communities. Next. You'll see a side by side here. I'm going to be real brief and tell you the revenue. You can see it. We have 3 million in the budget. We have, we're just a little over budget, but we're not going to panic about that, because if you look at everything else that's happening, we're going to probably come in under budget coming into the new year. Now, transfer from operating to reserves was 104,000 budgeted. We put 115,000 in there. Administrative lifestyle, $1 million plus, and we are the budget, and we're actually a little bit under budget there. Contracts, repairs, parts, love this number. Budget 14,060,000. The budget cost for the year 1,500,000 plus. And once again, I can tell you that we don't need to get too worried about that, because some of the things we've done, we move forward from the 2024 that you'll see the effects of. They are, as it says, contracts, repairs, and parts. And some of those parts and repairs, totally unexpected. And I'll tell you that the maintenance people or the folks contracted to do repairs and have done an excellent job in 2023. Utilities, you can see how close it is. Budgeted 247 plus. We came in at 246 plus. Insurance, very close. $6,000 difference. Why does that happen? Because we purchased our insurance in the middle of the year, a little around May, and therefore we can miss by a little bit. But I commend Kelly and the way we've done it over the last couple of years. 6,000 is not much when you figure we got a half a year to go.
Actually, Larry,
Taxes,
you also purchased environmental insurance at the middle of the year, which was not in the original budget, which is why we're a little over. So,
yes, that's correct. I forgot that. Thank you, Kelly.
yep.
Taxes, once again, good numbers. And total operating expense, folks, if you look at the budget and you look at where we are, I applaud the finance committee. I applaud Kelly and her team for keeping us right where we are. Next. Once again, a side by side for us here. Administrative lifestyle, where did that dollar go? We had quarterly about 170,000, annually a little over 675,000. Contracts, maintenance, repairs plus quarterly about 250,000, and we're looking at an annual of about 989,000. Utilities quarterly 40,000, and we came out at 40,000 times 4 is 160. Insurance, it's pretty doggone close. Taxes, we used $2 quarterly, and it came in at 9. Reserve funding came in, we budgeted 19, and that would be 76. We came in at 75. As you look over there, you see utilities are 8.1% of the budget. Reserve is 3.8 of the funding. Admin, lifestyle 34.2. And all the other projects, maintenance, repairs, and parts, 50.1. And next screen, please. What are reserves? I heard it said best the other day. Somebody asked, what is the difference between reserves and capital improvements? Reserves deal with the old, capital improvements deal with the new. That's an easier way to say it. Association equipment, major components, they have to be replaced from time to time. What we do is we have a list of things for every year, and it goes out. I'm not sure, Kelly, is it 30 plus years?
Yes, for 30 years.
30 years. And what we do is we move these around. Not everything has to be replaced. We do a reserve study every 2.5 or 3 years. Reserve funds are meet the legal, fiduciary, and other professional requirements. They minimize the need for special assessments and or borrowing, and they enhance the resale values of your homes when you get ready to sell them. They're required to be disclosed, and they are required by the AICPA. Next, please. Upcoming reserve projects, 2024 expenditures, new carpet ballroom, north hallway, classrooms, and library. That was deferred from 2022. Repair, repaint lake house, siding and trim. That's about $119,000. Renovate and repaint office areas. A little over 15, almost 16,000. Repair or repaint, a lake house interior. A little over 12,000, partially deferred from 2023. Reupholster, replace furniture, 46,000. Color coat sports courts out there, 20,300. Replace and powder coat outdoor patio and pool furniture, tables, replace cushions, and outside 13,000. Surveillance cameras, 9,700, and landscape as needed, 73,000. Once again, we are more than good on our reserves, and I thank once again the Finance Committee folks and Kelly for being right there on the spot. I mean, everything is discussed, folks. I mean, every dollar we have is discussed before it's spent. Next. Capital improvements. As I said, reserves are for older stuff. Capital improvements are for newer stuff. Capital improvements are structural additions or alterations that increase the overall value of the property, can also increase the useful life of the property by improving its quality or strength. Capital improvements can also adapt to a property to new uses through upgrades and modifications. In association, common area capital improvement projects help increase the property values of homes within the community. I'll repeat that one more time. It increases the property value of homes within the community, as well as enhancing homeowners' quality of lifestyle. Even as the community ages, having a capital improvements allows association to improve facilities and attract new buyers. Next page, please. The HOA capital improvements can be complex. In 2023, the association established a capital improvement fund. We did not have one before that, and it was from the COVID-19 Relief Fund, which was released at the end of December 2022. Projects approved for capital improvement funds have no impact on the operating budget or annual assessment. I'll repeat that. They have no impact on the operating budget or annual assessment. Next. 2024 capital improvement projects. The addition of a putting green on the south side of the lake house next to the bocce courts. And I'm really pleased to tell you that we're going to have the addition of a storage building, garage, maintenance workshop on the north side of the lake house to replace the green cage. Now, folks, that may not sound like something that's needed right now, but the maintenance team is doing a lot of repairs and making parts and what have you inside of the lake house. They do not have a place to work. At a facility as big as we are and needing repairs, we need this additional storage, we need the maintenance, and we need a garage area to store the equipment that we have so it doesn't age. Very good, thank you.
All right, so now we're going to spin the wheel for a pair of patio lounge chairs, which were donated to us by Sam's Club. Congratulations, 414 Miss Flower. Next slide, please. All right, so I'm going to go through the management update for 2023. There's a couple of different parts to this update, but we'll start with sort of some updates for the association itself. We introduced 4 new team members here at the Lake House. Daniel Romero, Quinn Wynn, Kisa Williams, and Charles Gonzalez. Hopefully you've all had a chance to stop by and say hello. If not, I encourage you to do so. These are the people that you see in the Lake House working on a daily basis. We did complete the upgrades that were for the audiovisual equipment in the ballroom, learning center, activity center, creativity center. And actually, it's not listed here, but also the wellness center. All of these rooms now feature either a television or projector, which makes the rooms usable for a wide variety of meeting functions. Now, not everyone's having to request just the ballroom or just the learning center, when every room now has a way to display audiovisual for meeting purposes. So we purchased a pressure washer of our own. which we can bring around the community to do pressure washing in-house rather than having to contract out pressure washing to a third-party vendor. We replaced the community's UTV with a maintenance mini truck. I know that was a purchase that especially excited Larry throughout the year, but it is, I believe, a great choice. Makes a lot more sense for a community like ours than a UTV does. It has a bed on the back. It's an enclosed space. It's just a lot more functional for our maintenance guys to complete the projects that we have here. And the community is about 500 acres large, so we do need a way for them to get around with their tools and their equipment to tackle some of these projects. And then we also changed community banking partners late last summer. This opens the door for us to do some other things in the future as far as giving homeowners more access to view their accounts. Some of the integrations we're talking about with our future app and website will relate directly back to this later on. And so this was an important update for us to make to sort of improve our overall payment processing, simplify that, and open the door for us to make some other improvements down the line. So we did a lot of maintenance projects in 2023. There's actually 4 pages worth. I'm not going to read all of them. Of course, I will spare you guys having to hear me read all 4 pages. I will call out a couple of them. These are the larger scale maintenance projects that we tackled throughout the year. Of course, there are little projects here and here that we're not even going to put on this list. But I'm sure you remember some of these things. If we go back a year, we repainted all the monument signs throughout the neighborhood. We did a lot of work on our mailbox clusters, adding those rubberized tops and repainting them. We've done a lot of work on landscaping, downsizing of beds, replacing superfluous beds. We did some upgrades to the nature park using plants that were donated to us by the Garden Club. We started the Japanese Blueberry Project, but we kind of had to pause it because of the drought situation. We made some repairs to the parking lot, which are tackling those kind of large bird bath areas that were holding water for so long. We had some stone walls that needed to get replaced. We repainted the parking stripes out in the fire lines for the parking lot. You can go ahead. We added a new intercom system to the front door, a complete renovation of the fitness room. I mean, that may have felt like 4 or 5 years ago at this point, but that really was just last year about this time that we were doing that project. We added an automatic door to the wooden door right between the billiards room and the fitness center. We added some more fencing to the pickleball courts to help deal with some of the trespassing issues we were facing out there. We added some locks to some of our cabinets, which increases the usable storage space that we have and that we can help contribute towards chartered clubs. We repainted the entire north half of the interior of the lake house. Keep going. We replaced all the exterior step lights around the lake house. On the front at the portico share, we took out those lighted bollards and we replaced them with safety bollards, and we put lights in the ground, which you may notice a big scrape from a car, which helps demonstrate that it was the right choice, because otherwise someone could have been at risk if a car had pulled through there and hit a person. So those safety bollards help protect our pedestrians from getting hit by cars. We added more bookcase space to the library. We upgraded the outdoor grill, which we found out was rusting from the inside out. We added some new chairs to the billiards room. We renovated the chairs that were in the great room. We restained the front and back porches. We had to rewire the exterior pool gates. That was a couple of week-long project. Of course, we renovated the entire pool inside. We started the outside project. That's ongoing as we speak. We did some reshuffling of the community's benches. We replaced all the dog park benches with new dog park benches, which allowed us to take those benches and distribute them throughout the neighborhood into areas where they didn't have any benches. We also added some potable water sources out there for the doggies so that they could have a place to drink inside the dog park without having to haul water in a bucket through the fence. So we made some of those improvements as well. So a lot of maintenance projects. Okay, so in 2023, we know we all started using Maintenex for the first time. We started in May, and just kind of a fun trivia fact, but between May and the end of the year, how many maintenance work order tickets were completed in Maintenex? So we completed 1,342. So in a little over 6 months, we were completed that many work orders. Average is about 168 closed work orders per month that the maintenance guys are completing. And don't forget, if you guys have maintenance requests, there is a very handy link right there on the website. It's under the Contact Us dropdown. It says Maintenance Requests. You just click it, fill in the blanks. your ticket will go straight to the maintenance team. It will get prioritized, it'll get resolved. And when it's all done, you'll actually get a nice little update on how your ticket was closed out. So it really helps us when you put those tickets in there. It makes us aware of issues that we can't be everywhere, all the time. And so we do rely on our homeowners to help us out with that. When you're seeing something, when you're out walking your dog, or you're out for a jog, or maybe you're using the locker room and you notice a drip, let us know, get it reported so we can get it addressed as soon as possible. Okay, going to bring us to another spin the wheel for Texas Roadhouse gift certificate, again, donated by CCMC. All right, congratulations, 410 Dusky Wing Way. All right, so I want to talk a little bit about, what's on the radar for next year. We talked a little bit about, what we completed in 2023, financial wise, reserve project wise, maintenance wise, but we do have stuff, of course, planned for 2024. We want to make you guys aware of some of those things. So one of the things we're going to focus on, of course, is continuing to increase our partnerships and sponsorships with local businesses. We had a lot of success with this in 2023. We brought in more sponsorship dollars in 2023 than we have in any other year prior to this point. And it's important that we continue to build those relationships. Sponsorships and partnerships help us to cover the costs on our lifestyle program. For those of you that are not aware, we try to have our lifestyle program paid fully, either through sponsorships, partnerships, through ticket sales, or through sometimes the private event rentals that we bring in. Also, all of those funds go together into a pool, and that is what we use to help pay for lifestyle events, so that we can bring on more sponsorships, and we can have bigger, better, and more events without it having an impact on the association's budget, because that money is coming from outside sources. We know it's time for us to review and update the Charter Club manual. The manual you have is about 11, 12 years old. It's original to the community and was obviously put in place when the developer launched your very first chartered club. So it's just time for the board to take a look at that and make sure it's still relevant, up to date, and see if there any changes need to be adjusted based on the direction that you took your community over the past decade. We will continue to monitor neighboring real estate developments. We know that there are a couple of them on either side of the community. We have the William Ranch Business Park that was a bit of a challenge early last year. We have the Circle Oak retail development that's over there next to HEB. And we have a new commercial area in front of Veranda, kind of between Sweetgrass and the library. And we have, kind of keeping our eyes on all these different areas to see how they may impact our home values, our quality of life. And, we're not afraid to get involved with local government leaders, entities, bringing in homeowners to help us out if we need to make sure that our interests are being protected. We'll continue to work with the county, city, and MUD on solutions for easing traffic and speeding concerns. I know that safety committee in particular meets with them and has meetings on a regular basis. It's a top priority. And so that will continue to be a focus into 2024. And then, like we talked about earlier, we will continue with the lighting and surveillance camera studies. We can get those results so we can decide how best to move forward those projects. For our maintenance action list, of course, we want to finish the work that's being done on the outdoor pool, finish the Japanese blueberry project that started last year. We will be renovating the bocce court areas. That turf is pretty worn through at this point, so it's time to get replaced, and it's already been approved and scheduled. We did, of course, have a freeze last week or maybe 2 weeks ago at this point, and so we need to kind of reevaluate our landscaping after last summer's drought and the freeze, see where we're at, what needs to be addressed. We want to continue to find ways to downsize our landscaping beds and superfluous beds. This helps save us on irrigation. It saves us on mulch. It saves us on plant replacement. But we want to make sure that we're doing that in a way that doesn't negatively impact our aesthetics. So it is sort of a slow process. We'll continue that this year. We talked about the putting green in the storage building. We have quite a few common area sidewalks that need attention after the drought. They shifted last summer when we didn't have any water, so they need some attention. All of our trees right now are actually being evaluated by the arborist. These are the large scale trees I'm talking about, to determine which ones need to be trimmed up to help encourage growth. We'll be upgrading the granite pathways that are on the outside of the lake house. There's a couple of them, but the one most people think of is the one that's kind of between the indoor pool area and the bocce courts. That area needs some work. And then we have, of course, a number of reserve action items list that we're already trying to get on the schedule for the year. We'll be doing our resident survey. We talked about this briefly last year, and then we put it on hold because we had some more important projects that we felt needed to come first. But now that those are behind us, we are ready to move forward with our SWOT survey. Our plan is to roll this out in mid to late February. This will be an opportunity for us to, ask you guys some questions to help identify strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, so that the board can put up some strategic planning and goals. How do we want to move the community forward based on the feedback that we get from the homeowners that live here? I know I just heard some collective groaning throughout the entire community, but 2024 is a HOPA survey year. This happens every 2 years. As a 55 plus community under the Housing for Older Persons Act, we are required to survey the community every 2 years to make sure that we are meeting 80% of our homes being occupied by someone age 55 or older. This is essentially something we have to do. It's administered by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. Now, it's not happening right away. It won't happen until later in the year. I just want everyone to be aware of it, that it is coming up Q3, Q4 of this year. The sooner we can get everyone to turn those forms in, then the less you'll have to hear from me about it at e-blasts and meetings and stuff like that. So when it is time, if you would make sure that you get your form turned in right away, and then maybe it won't take us as long this year to meet the minimum goal. We did meet our minimum in 2022. We met the 80%. We would like to aim for a little higher. We would like to get to closer to 90% if we could. And the reason for that is because it gives us a cushion. If we have to meet a minimum of 80% and we're just barely getting there, and maybe we have some homeowners that move out, or they decide to move into assisted living, and then they leave their home to a 35-year-old child of some kind, an adult age child. And now all of a sudden, those couple of houses that have done that have pushed us below the 80% minimum. If we have closer to 90% response rate, then it gives us a 10% cushion that we don't have to worry so much over that course of the 2 years before the next survey. We will also be introducing an entirely new website and app. We're very, very excited about this. Something that the CCMC resident experience team, Stephen and Daniel and the board and myself have all been looking at and talking about for several weeks, actually probably several months at this point. But we're going to be introducing this. We're having a whole new website. So it's not just taking the existing website and making it look better. We're literally building this from the ground up. It's almost ready for us to launch. Just highlighting some of the changes that we're making here. Some visual, looks, just so it looks like we have a new website, of course, but we also really want it to be easier for you to use. So we're going to be adjusting some of the menu and sub-menu names so that's a little more intuitive, so that when you're going in to find what you're looking for, you know where to click. You're not having to search around for things. Same with the document library. We want you to find the documents that you need. We want to try to consolidate some of the forms so that there's less forms and so that they can be used for more purposes, so that, again, you're not overwhelmed by your number of choices. We want to introduce more digital options. More residents are asking us, we'd love to see more of our forms available as a digital form and not have to fill it out in paper. We did that a little bit this year. We rolled out room reservation requests as a digital form, and we're going to be introducing more forms as digital forms. This is going to be a multi-phase project. We will start with the website first. We are expecting this to be ready to launch late Q1, maybe early Q2 if there's some sort of delay, although we really think we're pretty close to being ready to go now. Once the website is sort of locked down and we're really comfortable it's working the way it's supposed to, we've worked out any bugs or issues, at that point we will then look at rolling out the next phase, which will be introducing the app. The app will be sort of a one-stop shop where you can check your balance, sign up for events and activities, request room reservations. It will tie in directly with our website to create this sort of seamless experience. We are partnering with an outside company, of course, to build this app. It is a company that specializes in app production. So they're building this app for us from the ground up. They are doing this actually for all of CCMC. CCMC has partnered with this company to help develop apps for CCMC and for different communities. But we are very fortunate that Sweetgrass has been chosen as a pilot community. So when the app is ready to start rolling out, we will be one of the first 3 communities to receive the app and to sort of help work out the kinks and get our input on how we'd like to see it go. So we're very, very excited about these 2 things. We'll obviously talk about these more as we're ready to sort of start the launch. But just know that an all new website and an all new app will be coming to the community very, very quickly. Bring up some of the awards and accolades that we received this year. So we received 6 nominations with CAI this year. That's Community Associations Institute. For those of you that are not familiar with CAI, they are an industry organization that basically they provide support for industry professionals in the HOA industry to industry leaders like your boards. They do advocacy work on behalf of HOA communities. And so they have essentially about 45,000 members of CAI in 63 countries across the globe. It's a very big organization that really is out there looking for the best interest of common interest communities. And so we actually received nominations in 6 categories this year. We're very, very pleased. You can see they're on the screen, the categories that we were nominated in. We also received Fort Bend Herald's Reserve Grand Champion Award for Best Retirement Community Center in Fort Bend County, which we're super pleased about as well. And then I myself am very pleased to state that I was chosen as the CAI Greater Houston On-Site Manager of the Year for 2023 for the Greater Houston market. So I was very flattered to have received the award. I heard from a number of you after last week's e-blast, so thank you for reaching out and sharing your nice congratulations. I'm just pleased as punch to have been honored in that way. So thank you so much. So at this point, we're going to spin the wheel for a $50 ActiveNet gift certificate. This is being donated by Sweetgrass, which you'll add to your account and you can use to buy fitness classes or event tickets or whatever. Congratulations, 3910 Outback. All right, at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Rick Brightigam, our Community Standards Director, who's going to give us the 2023 Community Standards Update.
Thank you, Kelly. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to give you the Community Standards Update for 2023. Before I get into the numbers, I'm going to answer a couple homeowner questions that we've received here. So first question, are you looking for any specific violations in the community? And the answer to that would be yes, sometimes. It just kind of depends what's going on in the community at the time. So I guess a good example would be right now with the holidays over, we'll look for decorations and lights not removed. After the winter, once spring comes, obviously we'll look for dead landscaping that needs to be replaced. But because we're doing 2023 here, I did want to mention 3 things that we specifically looked for in the community that became problematic, which would have been driveways and sidewalks in need of power washing, damaged fences that needed repaired and replaced, and uneven sidewalks that have become a trip hazard, which that one's actually rolled over into 2024. And I did just want to give a note for that here is that the maintenance of those sidewalks around your home, it is the responsibility of the homeowners. I know there's a lot of confusion with that. Second question, how often are the violation inspections completed? So I do a full inspection of the entire community once a week. That could be specific violations, that could be just in general. If you're selling your home, so we go out and we do a resale inspection once you have a buyer for your home, and we're looking for any unapproved improvements and any violations at that time. If a compliance ticket is submitted on mysweetgrass.net, we're inspecting for that particular violation. And really just anytime we're on the property, we're looking for whatever we see. Next question, what are the most common violations? So if you can go next slide, there you go, Daniel. So if you look on the left there on the pie chart, you're going to see the most common violations by percentage. And you can see that the unsightly violation was the worst in 2023. That's kind of a general letter. It did include those sidewalks and driveways in there. That's why that number was so big. Then you had architectural at 17%. That's going to be homeowners not submitting for the improvements they're making to their yard or their home. You do need prior approval before you add anything, change anything to the exterior. If you had things that have been changed and you haven't gotten that approval, you still need to do so. Whether that was a month ago, a year ago, 3 years ago, you need to get that approval. Next was rubbish and debris. That's pretty standard. Trash cans, heavy trash being put out early, tree branches not bundled properly and sitting at the curb. Pretty standard there. Next was landscaping at 10%. That's your general lawn maintenance, overgrown landscaping, dead grass. Note for the dead grass, I think most of you know about now, but if you're replacing your grass, it has to be Bermuda. It cannot be St. Augustine. And then we have signs at 6%. That's going to be contractor signs, for sale signs that are above the height limit, which is 4 foot, or maybe a homeowner put 2 signs on the lot. And then political signs, which is obviously becoming an issue right now. We have the primaries coming up here in, I think, March, and then the general election later in the year. So if you're confused or don't know the requirements for those political signs, you can find that on the mysweetgrass.net website. In the document library, you're going to find the political signage policy. If you can't find it, you have any issues, please reach out to me and I can walk you through that. Fencing was 4%. We talked about this being one of the issues in 2003 we specifically look for. And thank you to anybody who replaced those fences because I know they're not cheap. So we do appreciate that. And then the rest of the letters were 7%, just miscellaneous other things. Looking at the right of the slide there, you can see that there were a total of 543 notices that went out last year. That's up from 380 the prior year. So those notices are going up, which we expect as the community is getting older, things need more maintenance. We do expect that number to go up. Out of those, there were 464 courtesy notices, 59 violation notices. So those are great numbers. Most homeowners that are getting a notice, they're contacting me. They're resolving those issues before they actually go into a violation status. And then if we don't get any response after those notices, it does go into a fine stage. We do try to email, we call, we send letters, but unfortunately, if we're getting no response, and it does have to escalate there. And then you can also see 15 self-help notices were sent. Those notices are stating that if you don't resolve the issue on your property, that we may send one of our contractors to take care of that. And that can be an and/or situation. It may be the contractor coming out and/or fines. So next slide, please. Okay, this is our ARC section. And you can see on the right, the bar graph here, you can see that the applications were going up until 2021. That's when the homes were still being built here. And then now that we're no longer building, we kind of expect that dip. I think Don talked to this earlier. And we do expect that. The ARC applications are going to go down. The violations are going to go up. It's just, like he said, the community has matured and things are getting older. So, and I do want to point out, because I see the 2021, that big spike there. I believe that's when the freeze was, the nasty freeze we had. And we had probably over 100 generator applications for that year. That's why that big spike. But I think going forward, it's going to kind of start staying where the 22, 23 numbers were. On the left of the screen, you can see that the total applications for last year were 297. Of those, 129 were approved as is. 49 were approved with conditions. That means the ARC, they may have required some type of change, alteration to that application, but ultimately they were approved. And then we had 6 applications that were declined. So unfortunately, some things can't be approved. but 6 declined out of 297. That's a pretty good number. And then lastly, we have 113 streamlined approvals. If you're not familiar with that, that's the first application that you should check always. It has pre-approved requirements from the ARC. And if you meet those requirements, then they allow me to approve that for you. So you don't have to pay the $15 fee. It doesn't have to go to the meeting in that case. So that's the end of my presentation. If you have any questions about ARC, community standards, violations, I'm the person to reach out to, and I'm always happy to answer questions or meet with you in the lake house. So thank you.
Thank you, Rick. At this point, we're going to spin for a $50 Visa gift card donated by Ochoa Roofing.
To 23 West Point Drive. Head west on Del Webb Boulevard.
3410 Prairie Falcon Drive. Congratulations. We're going to turn it over at this point to Stephen Martinez, Lifestyle Director, to give us the lifestyle update.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Stephen Martinez. I am your Lifestyle Director here at Del Webb Sweetgrass, and I wanted to go ahead and give you a little bit of an update in regards to where we're at with our CCGAs. If you don't know what a CCGA is, that is short for committees, chartered clubs, groups, and activities. Currently, we do have 5 committees with 1 subcommittee. As Don mentioned earlier, we have 18 neighborhood committees. These are board approved, 36 chartered clubs, 11 special interest groups, and 5 activities. Okay, it's trivia time. One more time. All right. How many meetings or events occurred at the Lake House in 2023? Can you guess? Well, friends, in 2023, we hosted 4164, that's 4,164 meetings, events, classes, activities, private reservations, etc. Anything you can think of under the sun. Total of 4,164 meetings. With an average meeting time of 2.25 hours, that's approximately 9,369 hours of Lake House reservation space. Friends, that is more than 50% than what we had in 2022. So if you're wondering why reservations are constantly busy and why the Lake House is busy, that is why. I'm going to go ahead and touch a little bit on room reservations right now. Remember, all CCGAs should submit their recurring Lake House reservation request forms annually. Room reservations do not carry over from year to year automatically. So please remember when the notice goes out, CCGA leads, presidents, just make sure you are on the lookout for those emails when they come out. And then also additional reservation requests should be submitted at least 30 days in advance. If you're planning a special event, or if you have a private event that you're making a request for, please make sure that those are submitted 30 days in advance. Also, due to high demand for Lake House meeting space, we are unable to offer all CCGAs their first choice of schedule or date, but we ask that CCGAs be flexible and work with us to find solutions. So what I normally do is I ask when you submit a form to submit an alternative date, a second, or even a third, so this way I can try to see what's available. And if I'm not able to find anything that is in your request first, second, or third, I will recommend something within that time frame to make sure that you at least get something similar or close to where you put your request in. Please remember that any changes or cancellations to any approved reservation or schedule should be submitted in writing at least 2 weeks in advance. So we can make arrangements with the calendar, the maintenance team, everybody on board, so everybody's on the same page in regards to any changes, additions to your reservation. Also, a copy of the Lake House reservation and rental policy document is available in the document library on mysweetgrass.net. And please don't hesitate to contact me with any questions regarding room reservations. I'm here all the time. In regards to communications summary, as you know, we do have the addition of an amazing communications coordinator, Daniel. So these are a couple of communication updates that were done. In 2023, there were some updates to the CCGA pages, cleanup with some text and pictures, updated icons, and the cleanup of archived documents. Resident direct directories is currently in progress. So thank you so much to all of our neighborhood reps who are constantly reaching out to both Daniel and I to keep these updated. And neighborhood reps, as you are going through your meetings, please continue to make sure that these are updated, and you can contact us via email, stop by the lake house, or you can even submit that request on the website as well. There were some community calendar updates, major changes there. We reorganized and simplified the menu bars, simplified the documents folder, so everything's a lot easier to find, and under the contact us forms for common requests. Other communication updates that happened, I'm sure if you've been in the lake house, you've noticed that we have TVs in the activity center and creativity center that Kelly mentioned earlier. These TVs are currently broadcasting Sweetgrass TV, as well as the TVs in the cafe, the fitness center, and the billiards room. You can't forget the lobby though. As soon as you walk in, as you get to the concierge desk, you can see to the right of it is a TV that is broadcasting Sweetgrass TV. If you don't know what Sweetgrass TV is, that is our closed circuit advertising space where we pretty much showcase all of our events and programming, video recaps from past lifestyle events, and also showcase our clubs and groups. So this is a great new addition to our communications team or communications program. We have added the poster board in the front, which is considered, we call it our sweet list. Our new calendar format, I'm sure you all noticed that, the addition of Sweetgrass milestones, and of course the 2023 calendar at a glance was added to the breeze, and I'm sure you'll notice that the 24 at a glance is added as well. So here are some communication stats. In 2023, social media results, we have a total of 837 followers, 647 community page likes, and 1,463 reactions, comments, and shares. So thank you all for continuing to visit our social media pages, interacting. I encourage you to do it some more, share a lot of the content. So this way, anybody that you are friends with within the community can go ahead and share and see any kind of activity you're planning to go to. It's a great way for us to see how excited you are for upcoming events, and just to pretty much add to the fun that's happening on our social media pages. Also, our 2023 Breeze results. That, if you don't know what the Breeze is, that is our weekly e-blast. In regards to Breeze total recipients, we are currently sitting at 2,283, plus our open rate is sitting at 72%, and our click rate is sitting at 10%. This is an above average open rate, friends, so congratulations to you. Please keep it up. This is a great way for us to make sure that the communication is going out and it's being shared with everyone in the community. So please, please, please continue to open your emails, read your emails from top to bottom, and click all the buttons on there to see all the fun that's happening, not just here at the Lake House with all of your different clubs and groups, but as well as everything happening with our participating vendors and our lifestyle programming. If you don't already know, if you are currently following both of these social media pages, we currently have our Facebook page. There's a link that's there. It's also attached at the top right of our website, www.mysweetgrass.net, as well as the icon for our YouTube page. When you click to our YouTube channel, you can go ahead and see all of our board meetings when we stream them live. And here comes the fun part. It's time to go ahead and relive all the fun parts, all the fun things that happened in 2023. I invite you to go ahead and sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. What a fun year, friends. 2023 was a good year, and 2024, it looks like it's just going to be just as more. All right, it's time to go ahead and spin the wheel, friends. We've got a $50 ActiveNet gift certificate sponsored by Sweetgrass. Okie dokie, congratulations to 518 Larkspur Lane. Okie dokie, so now it's time to go ahead and touch on a glance of what 2024 looks like. So working with the social committee or with your social committee, you can go ahead and see there are several events that are planned for 2024. Now, I must remind you that this is a highlight or sampling of this year's planned events and not a comprehensive list. There are a couple of things that will be sprinkled in throughout the year to go ahead and add some fun and make sure that we have plenty of fun and activity going on at the Lake House and here at Sweetgrass. What you can look forward to new in 2024 are our Tune In Tuesdays with me in the Learning Center. We had our first one this past Tuesday. Thank you to everyone who came out. You can also look forward to seeing a new signature event added to our calendar, which is Whiskey and Wildflowers. You can look forward to seeing that in April. Another seasonal or recurring event that we will be introducing is First Fridays here at the Lake House. First Fridays will be a chance for fun entertainment to visit the Lake House the first Friday of the month from August through November, and we will get a sampling or sprinkling of that in March. A new recurring event that will be added to the calendar is an event that we are calling Game of Games. It's not your typical game night. It's a game night on steroids. It's a super fun night full of game on top of game on top of game, all while playing one big game. Look forward to seeing you all at our first one. You can look forward to coming to Game of Games in May. You can also look forward to a farmer's market and a craft show. Those are for our new events. Updates and event elevations. I'm sure you were all excited about the elevated new Mardi Gras Bourbon Street Fair and Parade. If you haven't already, please make sure to get your tickets. They are going quickly, so please, please, please get your ticket today if you haven't. We are elevating our candlelight holiday party from what it was 2 years ago, and we are theming it with a 1920s themed holiday party. So we welcome you to enjoy Candlelight 1924. We will be introducing a Sweetgrass podcast. This is a project that both Larry and I have been working on. We're super excited, and hopefully we'll be able to take care of that sooner than later. And another thing that we're introducing is 20 Under 20. This is a good opportunity for HOA Q&A, and this will be streaming where you can go ahead and submit questions, and we will go ahead and target them either board member questions or on-site teams, volunteers. Forward to that in 2024 as well. And friends, you can look forward to the returns, like your good seminars, party and events and October is back. Something, all of that and more. I hope you were just that's okay. Next, we have wellness in 2020. You can look forward to fitness in 2020, your aqua side, better balance, chair strength, lunch, all of these you can look as well as programs like Feel Good Friday, that is back, intro fitness equipment
Stephen,
for 1-1.
Stephen, I hate to interrupt, but I'm afraid you're breaking up real bad. So I think I'll just jump in and finish out the slide for you because we literally cannot hear what it is you're saying. But anyways, this is just a highlight of the fitness classes that we have in 2024. I know Stephen and the Health and Wellness Committee in particular have been working very hard on getting these fitness classes kind of streamlined. We're introducing some new ones, bringing back some ones that you guys have really latched on to. I know we're going to be bringing more to our Feel Good Friday program, which is sort of a monthly health and wellness awareness initiative in the fitness room, and we tie that in with our instructors. We will be kind of revamping our Intro to Fitness, which is sort of the fitness center awareness opportunities that we have a couple of times a month in the fitness room, where you can come and have someone show you how to use the equipment to make sure that you are safely using it. And then the Health and Wellness Committee, they are working on a number of programs for this year. We're just going to briefly mention them here, but they're wanting to do a sweetgrass polar plunge once our new outdoor pool is finished, which will be a total hoot. They're thinking about a Senior Olympics program, which we're very excited about. Bringing back the poker walk last year, which was a big hit. And then they have a couple of other ideas under their belts as well. So we're super excited about wellness initiatives in 2024. We do want to give a special shout out to the photography club for contributing a number of the really beautiful photos that you saw today, especially the ones that are around the community, photos of the lake house, the lake, the entry monuments. They just did a really fabulous job contributing photos for us, which we used in today's slideshow. And honestly, all throughout the year, you'll see them in the e-blasts and the Bayou Buzz. And we just wanted to give a special shout out to them, because without their contributions, we wouldn't have all those lovely photos for our publications. So thank you so much. At this point, I'm going to turn it back over to Bruce.
Okay, thank you, Kelly. And I would like to thank all the presenters, everybody who has worked very, very hard and diligently on their presentations. What you all have seen is a comprehensive review of 2023, and I hope you found it enlightening and informative. And I'm sure there may be some questions at which we'd be pleased to entertain if you send those to the attention of Kelly, and we will be responsive to those. I want to again thank all the presenters. I want to also thank all of our community partners, and you see some of them right here. Some of them are large, some of them are small. They've all contributed to our success. Next slide, please. As I said before, any questions regarding the annual meeting or any questions, just send them to sweetgrasstext@ccmc.com. Sorry. There's a portion on mysweetgrass.net. You can also find this. This will all be on mysweetgrass.net. This has been recorded and will shortly be available. With that, I want to thank everybody again, and the meeting is adjourned.